Veteran Cloudrest is a mini-trial released with the Elder Scrolls Online Summer Set. Now some would ask, what is a mini-trial? Mini-trials are a form of 12-player endgame content that allows you to increase the difficulty of the fight by skipping one or a few of the bosses and instead face them together with the main boss of the trial in one big fight. The mini-bosses. The bosses you can add to the main boss are shadow copies of 3 of the members of an order of Griffin Riders called the Welkinars. The Welkinars lost their battle against the Sea-Slowed Samara and were taken hostage. You can choose to fight these mini-bosses in any order you'd like. I start with Ceroria, the fire mini-boss. The boss for the element of fire is Ceroria. Wielding a sword and shield, Ceroria uses the standard abilities of a magical dragonite, such as Flame Whip and Burning Talons. The Griffin partner of Ceroria is named Seleda. Seleda performs this boss's characteristic ability, Roaring Flare. This player now has to stack on at least 2 other players, sharing the damage of the explosion in order to survive. What to watch out for when fighting Seleda and Ceroria. Like the other mini-bosses, Seleda and Ceroria will empower each other once being close together. At multiple points of the fight, Seleda will take flight, flying over the stage, leaving vicious whirlwinds on the ground, which stun players that touch them. Once Ceroria drops below 50% of her HP, she unlocks another special ability. This ability allows Ceroria to leap into the air, smashing the ground and sending out flame tornadoes into all directions on a player's location. Once either Ceroria or Seleda die, an enrage mechanic is triggered, summoning so-called nocturnal creepers. These creepers have the nasty ability to bind players, only leaving them the option to dodge roll out of their grasp in order to survive. After a while of being in combat with Seleda and Ceroria, you will notice a portal in the middle of the room. This portal leads to Samara's Shadow Realm. The Shadow Realm. Once the portal has opened, you must send at least 2 players into Samara's Shadow Realm, stopping her army from passing through. I recommend sending 3 people in for an ordinary +0 veteran clear. The portal works like this. Once you enter, you will see 3 crystals around the room. They die relatively quick. Once they're destroyed, a spear of light is gonna spawn in the boss room where your comrades wait. Your group members have to synergize these spears to send them to you into the Shadow Realm. Every time a crystal is destroyed, a dark orb is exposed. While this orb is laying exposed, it deals decent damage to players in the form of dark projectiles. In order to close the portal, you have to deliver these orbs to the spears of light your group members sent to you. You pick up the orbs by pressing synergy. Having picked up the orb, the carrying player will receive a lot of damage over time, so be quick to deliver. To deliver, simply run into the Spear of Light with an orb on you. Repeat this process for all the orbs in order to close the portal. You can now proceed to bring down Seleda and Ceroria. After a while, the portal will open again. The players that went in there the first time will not be able to go inside again, so form 2 groups that can rotate. After the second group has closed the portal, you can send in the first group again. Repeat this until Seleda and Ceroria are dead. Moving on to Relic the Lightning and his Griffin partner Ariela. The boss for the element of lightning is Relic. Wielding a staff he uses like a martial artist, his signature attack is a heavy attack, which sends out lightning sparks into all directions, stunning every player hit. His partner, the Griffin Ariela, is casting his characteristic ability, which overloads your current weapon, forcing you to weapon swap to your other bar, and remain there for at least 10 seconds. Should you remain on your overloaded bar or swap back by accident, you'll deal heavy damage to yourself and your allies. As in the fight with Ceroria, also here a Shadow Realm portal will open in the middle of the room. Proceed as explained before. What to watch out for when fighting Relic. Stun combos are really common on this boss, so make sure to be careful with your stamina. Further on, Relic is using a cone-shaped ability which can be dodged and blocked, else it will push you back and deal a lot of damage to you. Also, Relic and Ariela empower each other while being close together. Ariela will also take flight like Seleda, leaving behind whirlwinds on the ground that stun players. If either Relic or his Griffin die, the same enrich mechanic will trigger, which we already know from the fight with Ceroria. Galanway the Ice and Ariela. The boss for the element of ice is Galanway. Wielding a 200 sword, his heavy attack is an uppercut. Same as with the fights against Ceroria and Relic, there will also be a shadow portal in the middle of the room with the same mechanic we already know. His partner, the Griffin Ariela, casts his characteristic ability, a Hoarfrost Whirlwind, which gets cast onto a player. This effect will deal damage over time and slow the player affected by it. After about 7 seconds, this player can use a synergy key to drop the Hoarfrost on the ground for another player to pick up. If you do not pick it up, it'll start shooting damage projectiles at random players, increasing in strength every second it is not picked up. After 3 players have had the Hoarfrost on them and dropped it, the ice will vanish and Ariela will cast it on another player after a short delay. So what else to watch out for when fighting Galanwei? Galanwei will cast a circle of ice around himself and the tank that is currently holding him, dealing a lot of damage to everyone standing in it. Once Galanwei's HP drops below 50%, he will use an ability which summons 3 huge telegraphs around 3 players, indicating an ice explosion. It will kill any player who stands where the circles overlap. Like the 2 griffins before, Ariela will also take flight, leaving behind whirlwinds on the ground which stun players that touch them. Ariela and Galanwei also empower each other when being close together. If either one of the 2 die, the same enrage mechanic we know already is triggered, summoning nocturnal creepers. Summarizing the mini-bosses. Each encounter features a griffin and his rider. In all 3 fights, the players have to best the same Shadow Realm portal mechanic and each boss's characteristic unique abilities. All griffins take flight and leave behind whirlwinds that stun players that touch them on the ground. All bosses possess abilities where they jump or teleport across the room. If Griffin and Rider are close to one another, they empower each other. Once having defeated the 3 Rider's shadows, you can now return to the main room and face Samara. Samara is a toad, sloat. She uses dark magic and deals magic damage. Her normal attack is called Mind Blast. It attacks everyone in front of her. Her heavy attack is a big ball of darkness which deals heavy direct magic damage. The probably nastiest ability of Samara is a mechanic involving 3 small orbs. They stun the players who touch them, and if not killed in time, Samara will call them in on a player's location, crashing on this player. However, whenever you kill an orb, you and your allies in close proximity will receive a dot, which deals decent damage to you and your allies. Whenever an orb touches a player, it stuns this player and sends out little dark waves into all directions, stunning every player hit. Another one of her attacks is called Crushing Darkness. Crushing Darkness locks on the tank that is keeping aggro of her and the player furthest away from her, creating a void below their feet which they have to kite. Almost like in the fights before, also here a shadow portal will open in the middle of the room. However, this portal is different, as a copy of the main boss Samara awaits you downstairs. Her heavy attack cannot be dodge rolled, so make sure to send a tank inside the portal. In addition to that, the number of crystals is increased to 5 or 6. The number of orbs stays the same. So you now have 3 orbs hiding within 5 or 6 crystals. Only a crystal which drops an orb will spawn a spear synergy in the main boss room for Ariela to send back to you for delivering. Delivering works in the same manner as before. There is another mechanic, however, which appears about 20 seconds after you've entered the Shadow Realm. Samara's shadow will cast an explosion expanding from the middle of the room. Close to the platforms in the corners of the room, you will see a bright shine. This is a synergy sending you to the platform upstairs, avoiding the explosion. For as long as the portal is open in the middle of the room, in the real boss room and in the Shadow World, you will notice a cone-shaped ability targeting random locations. If hit by this cone ability while you're in the Shadow World, you will be sent upstairs in the main boss room and vice versa. After all 3 orbs have been delivered and the portal is closed, a big spider will spawn in the middle of the room, which is called Yagra Monstrosity. Same as for the portal with the mini-bosses, you cannot enter 2 portals in a row, meaning you need 2 groups of at least 3 players each. After having repeated this process a couple of times, when Samara drops below 40% of her HP, nocturnal creepers will spawn around the room, binding players, forcing them to roll dodge in order to survive their grasp. Now you have to face the challenges of this fight and the nocturnal creeper spawn until 5% of Samara's HP. Once her HP drops below 5%, she will teleport to the top end of the room, summoning her shade from the Shadow Realm. You have to kill the shade in order to defeat Samara. After about 20 seconds, players will receive a debuff called Baneful Mark. It puts your HP on 20% of your maximum HP and applies a growing dot such as a heavy healing debuff onto you. To get rid of Baneful Mark, heal up to 100% of your HP. Baneful Mark will get applied to you again after about 20 seconds. Samara's shadow possesses the same abilities like the original, and you will have creepers spawn around the room during the fight. Keep calm and make sure to have a person kiting the crushing darkness of Samara until she is dead. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this helped you guys to understand the new trial. Have a nice day and good loot.